Jarrett? Is that you?
Sure isn't Robin Williams.
Who are you supposed to be?
Dogs Bauer. Captain Dogs Bauer. I assume you get the reference with your Elliot Ballade costume.
Elliot Ballade? Who?
Yeah, you know, you got your spiky hair, blue shirt, blue jeans, boat shoes. Come on, you're talking to my Doug here.
I am not tugging your Doug here. Come on, don't you know who I am? I got the spiky hair, the blue shirt, blue jeans, boating shoes.
Gay, Sonic the Hedgehog?
What? No. Japanese. Businessman. Liar.
A gay... Tayo Nakayama?
No. Who? No. I'm Keiji Inafune.
Yeah, gay Keiji Inafune. That would be my next guess. Anyway, I just came out from my,
Hey, you came to the party.
Dreamcast. Party?
Dreamcast party? Well, I didn't write Dreamcast party on the invitations, but sure, we can play Dreamcast. Oh, this is great! You're the first one here. You're the only one here. But hey, did you hear? There's gonna be Dreamcast at this party. Woo 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 poke 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 poke.
Oh no. I showed up to a party I didn't want to go to on the way to a party I did want to. The obscure Sega character theme party that I was invited to by the top members of the Dreamcast subreddit. Damn. I need an exit strategy, but I'm afraid if I leave this dumb party, Miles will kill himself. What would Captain Dogs Bauer do?
What would Captain Dogs Bauer do? Fuck! That's all he would do and it didn't work!
I gotta think of something. I just know this party's gonna be really lame. I gotta get out of here.
I can hear every word you're saying, but I'm just happy that I'm not alone. So don't think about leaving just yet.
Fine, but I'll only stay for exactly 42 minutes, but then I gotta go.
Sure, that's what they all say. They all bring up that specific amount of time before they gotta leave. But you know, once you're into the bowels of this shindig, you'll want to cut off your shin. You dig? You'll want to cut off your legs so you can't leave the party, is how the old saying goes.
Right. Hey, so about that Dreamcast, you still have that controller I gave you back in 2001? We used to hang out, like, as friends. I actually came here for that specific reason, and,
Dreamcast? Oh, that's right! Dreamcast party! Woo, 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 woo! I call this move the orange swirl. I call it the blue swirl when I'm in Europe, and I have to adjust my dance speed to 50 hertz.
Miles!
Oh, right. Dreamcast. I'll be right back. Don't leave.
Alright, Jarrett, time to cut your losses. Maybe if you leave now, you can make it to the...
Dreamcast party!
Shit.
Dreamcast party with the big dog. Whoa, 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 whoa. Woo!
It's dogs.
Please, have a seat. Inside the safe zone. The inside the house zone, that shall be referred to as the safe zone. Please stay inside the safe zone for the allotted promised duration of 42 minutes. For all of our safety.
Alright, hook up the Dreamcast.
On it!
Oh no! It seems that you have a high-definition television.
I do?
Judging on the ports in the back, you have nothing to support this Dreamcast, which only does VGA. I guess the Dreamcast party's canceled on technicality.
But I have a VGA to HDMI converter box right here. I think I can play on my high-definition television.
Alright, let's get back to the safety zone.
Back to the safety zone, let's go! Blue Stinger was released in North America on August 31st, 1999. Oh, you heard correctly. Blue Stinger released 9 days before the Dreamcast was released in North America on the landmark 9999. But I didn't own a Dreamcast back then, so all I had to go off about what the game was like came from the box art itself. And oh wow, what a cover to marvel at. You have a guy with a gun, Shadow Man, Sephiroth's meteor, promises of a dinosaur island. I didn't even have to play this game to know that it was going to be special. And I wasn't prepared for what kind of special Blue Stinger ended up being.
It's time.
Elliot, you have a password.
Time to kill.
Now what?
Time to die.
Developed by Climax Graphics and produced and written by the late great Shinya Nishigaki, Blue Stinger was a financial success in regions outside of Japan. But it also faced harsh criticism by the North American gaming publications, and yeah, there's a big reason why this little title became infamous to all the game reviewers out there, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. In the game, you play as Elliot Ballade, a 29-year-old guy just trying to take a Christmas vacation on his yacht with his little helper boy, and they're sailing off the coast of Dinosaur Island.
Is that figure you're making a part of the decoration? You're already preparing for the party?
That island just so happens to be the impact site of the meteor that killed off all the dinosaurs billions of years ago. Speaking of meteors, oh look, now Elliot's boat is trashed and a magical barrier surrounds the island's perimeter. Leaving Elliot stranded with a bunch of different monsters all over the place. He swims to shore, passes out, wakes up, and he finds a blue ghost thing called the Nephilim. It looks like Chaos from Sonic Adventure. Is there some sort of connection here? Probably not. It just flies around and clips through walls throughout the entire game, and it contributes nothing gameplay-wise, and I'm not really sure why they have it follow the player all the time. It's mostly just a shiny blue distraction, but at least it's not shouting at me the entire game, so I guess that's a plus. Elliot pushes forward and he's ambushed by a monster when all of a sudden he's saved by the lovable salty sea dog, Dog's Bower. Dogs plural, because one dog wasn't enough and 3 was too many. Dogs is, just look at this guy. He is the portrait of masculinity. Orange do-rag, wind on the front, hammerhead shark on the back, hot pants, Zach Galifianakis beard he ordered on Amazon for a dumb Halloween skit. He is everything I aspire to be in my deepest, darkest bear fantasies. Not only is Dogs a shitty helicopter pilot, but also a sailor, heavy weapons expert, alcoholic, absent father, and despite all this cool shit, he somehow discovered Dinosaur Island years ago.
Do you have the card key to the freezer warehouse?
Who are you? He's Dog's Bower, captain of the SS Deanna. We're...
No time for explanation. If you want to live, give me the card key.
In any case, you're also introduced to the game's camera. And if you're playing the North American or PAL release, they changed up the camera to point behind the player at all times, creating an atmosphere of claustrophobia never felt in survival horror until now. The camera was royally fucked up due to Activision meddling in the North American release. They wanted something more action-driven. It's obvious that these levels weren't designed with this camera position in mind. Just look at this level. Oh wait, you can't. The Japanese developers referred to the American camera as the ghetto camera. Ghetto is Japanese for the sound of vomiting. Oh, how fitting, that's cute. The camera isn't something you get used to. You either tolerate it or you don't. Anyways, if you're able to look beyond the base of Elliot's skull, you'll come to realize there's a lot of fresh ideas in Blue Stinger, not often found in survival horror games at the time of its release. Unlike the original Resident Evil, which had you switch protagonists at certain story points, Blue Stinger just lets you switch between Elliot and Dogs whenever you want. Why anyone would want to switch back to Elliot is beyond me. Dogs or die, bitch.
Gotcha!
Before I get too deep into the gameplay, let's talk about the thing you hear all the time, the soundtrack. It was composed by Toshikiko Sahashi, whom was a recent graduate at the time, who later then went on to compose The Big O and Hunter Cross Hunter. Hell yes. Like everything else in Blue Stinger, the soundtrack is a bit of a mixed bag, and tonally, I don't know what it wants to be. Sometimes you get giant orchestral hits that resemble a big budget action movie, other times you get Christmas jingles jingles to set the tone for some serious shopping. Speaking of shopping, there's also an economy system in place on Dinosaur Island, and acquiring money is a bit of a mess. You get it from killing the monsters you see around, but when you do, they react like Sonic the Hedgehog running into a field of spikes. The coins just spray everywhere and only stay on the screen for a few seconds. Sometimes they clip through the level boundary or near a doorway, so you just can't get to it without changing screens. That's a little annoying. Just wish Dog just had some sort of magnet on his beard where he could suck up all the coins. Why didn't they think of that? There's vending machines littered all throughout the game, and many have different wares for sale. This is where the survival element totally goes out the window. You can buy endless health pickups and ammo, so long as you have the money to do so. The health pickups in Blue Stinger change it up from your typical green herb and health kit. They designed them with Dog's Bower in mind. Dog's Bower heals his wounds by eating junk food. Shit, if Dogs would just pass on his secret, he could fix the American obesity and healthcare problem in one fell swoop. But then we would be left with a new litter problem. Everything's a trade-off in life. The most common healing items are cans of Sahashi, which is the in-universe Coca-Cola equivalent. Dogs drinks it. Elliot drinks it. Santa Claus drinks it. Illbleed drinks it. They really went a little overboard with the marketing of this fictional drink. You can't escape it. I'm convinced that Sahashi had a larger marketing budget than the actual game it was featured in. It even has its own music video in the real world. Oh look! It's the Sahashi commercial! My favorite! Stingle me. Stingle me. Not allowed to have it. Give me that shit. Hey, I was watching that! You can also purchase weapons for either character or find them laying about in the world. You can tell the developers had a great time coming up with these ideas. The most bizarre weapons are of course found in Dog's Bower's arsenal. At first he starts off with a crossbow and that's kinda cool, but later he finds a t-shirt that simply says karate on it. Now here I'm thinking, it's just an alt costume, no big deal. Nope, Dog's Bower absorbs the power of the t-shirt he's wearing. So when he wears a karate shirt, he turns into Steven Seagal. Now I'm really partial to the sumo shirt, which gives him E Honda's 100-hand slap. It's perfect for closing the gap between you and the enemy, and as a bonus, it's also hilarious to hear Dogs grunt and waddle his way across the map. This is my preferred method of travel in Blue Stinger. So now that I've got you here, what do you want to play on the Dreamcast?
The only worthwhile exclusive.
I've got just the thing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Who Wants to Beat Up a Millionaire?
Oh, what are you doing? Ow. Hey!
Looks like it's up to Captain Dog's Bower to save the day once again. Keep it with me at all times.
Say, Blue Stinger. I've heard about that one. Isn't that an M-rated title? My mom says this is a very special Dreamcast that only plays E10 Plus and below. Now, I don't think that's going to work on my Dreamcast.
Son, this is a Dreamcast. There's no locks, no rules, just burn games and open road as far as the eye can see. Died way too young under mysterious circumstances. Nobody really knows why. Hey, pass me that Utopia boot disc that plays all the Dreamcast games free of charge. With no money paid to play any game you want to. Nothing going to Sega and nobody around to stop us. Free, no-pay games downloaded directly from EU Paradise and burned via image burn on verbatim brand disc.
This one?
That's the ticket. The ticket to free games. Don't you tell anybody what you saw here tonight or Dog's Bower is going to come out of YouTube and kill you and your whole family.
Wait a second. I have an American Dreamcast, and this is a Japanese Dreamcast game.
You're damn right it is. And as far as Dog's Bower is concerned, it's the only copy that matters. Not like that round-eyed hockey slop that's sold to American parents who didn't know any better. It's child abuse in disc form.
Am I being red-pilled right now?
Yup!
What can I say about Blue Stinger. It's a long, beautiful car wreck that's hard to look away from. There's billboards, posters, and unique level designs, even for sections that you only visit one time and then leave. There's a lot of attention to detail going on in here, and it's a damn shame about that vomit camera impeding you from seeing most of it. I bet after the release of the North American version, the graphic designers were absolutely pissed off knowing that the Western players wouldn't be able to see the majority of their labors. You can kinda see some of the graphic designs if you position yourself in a first-person mode, but that expects a lot from the player whenever they're trying to survive from monsters coming right at them. Now, I've heard over and over again that the Japanese version did not have this problem, so I went ahead and bought a copy of it to see what the fuss was all about. Was the Japanese camera really that much better? Oh yeah, a million times yeah. The evidence of this is in the first screen of the game. Just take a look at the starting position of the camera in the Japanese version. Notice anything different? Oh, this time I'm not looking at the top of Elliot's head. And when you take a few steps forward, it becomes even more apparent how much of the atmosphere was compromised. You completely lose the sense of scale in the North American version. But that's not all you're missing out on. In the first part of the game, Elliot and Dogs have to save a worker that's trapped in this elevator. They only have a few minutes to deactivate the emergency rail control before he's crushed to death. So you gotta make your way up this elevator shaft and find the switch to turn it off. God, where's the switch? I can't see it. Is it in the next room? I don't know where to go. Here's what that moment is like in the Japanese version. Oh, the camera is fixed exactly where I need to go, and I can see an opening to the gate. Let me go over there, hit the button, no big deal. And the American version? I can't see shit. The only way to see the opening to the gate is by going all the way down the hall, pivoting 180 degrees, and just waiting for the camera to stop shaking so you can finally see the entrance to go hit the button. I guarantee most people let that elevator worker die, and that's a shame because he gives you a napalm launcher, which is useful for some of the boss fights later in the game. Oh, and speaking of enemy differences, they have double the health of their Japanese counterparts. Like many Japanese to English conversions, they increase the difficulty without letting anyone know. I don't necessarily mind a challenge in the game, but I wish they would have included an option for easy mode, because dealing with the camera in the North American version is already enough of a challenge. The original camera was designed to fix or pan in certain areas of the level to draw attention to the details or the scale of the level design. Some of these maps are absolutely massive and you would have no idea in the North American version. I don't remember the camera being so cinematic.
This is peak survival horror Dutch angle. The further the camera is from the player, the better. That's what Captain Dogs Bauer says anyway.
Hey, is that a Hassie?
You know it is. How do you think I got all this hair on my chest? This is all I drink. I'm 80% Hassie, 20% hot dogs, 10% got a huge dick.
Can I try some of that? I'm not 21.
Hey, grip and sip, kid. Hope you like some lean with your Hassie.
Oh. Oh. The Japanese copy is, by the creator's own admission, the intended vision of Blue Stinger. Thankfully, Climax Graphics had enough of the fuckery of businessmen interfering with their camera work and decided to give several options of camera control in their follow-up title, Illbleed. The vomit camera is still there if you want it, though. Now, I can't say that Blue Stinger has all that interesting of a story. It's entertaining, sure, but it's mostly just a collection of little moments that you wade through until you arrive at Dogs' next line of dialogue.
I'm gonna take a bath. Nothing's gonna stop me.
What you'll do if the monster attacks you while you're butt naked?
I'll fight back butt naked. Stop whining. Let's jump in the tub.
I'm not sure if this is such a good idea.
Hey, in the tub we go. Taking a bath in the middle of a battlefield. That cool.
Well, I guess.
Hey, you're more macho than I thought.
Shut up.
Wait a minute. Dogs and Elliot are taking a bath together? Wow, they're just like my family. The voice acting is the best voice acting $100 can buy. No, really, Nishigaki admitted that he only paid Elliot's voice actor $100 for his work, and I assume Dogs was paid less, even though he should have been paid more.
Dogs, thank God you're here. Ready to pay off your debt?
Dang, he's alive! I was hoping you'd be dead so that I'd be debt-free.
Dogs Bauer is played by Deem Bristow, who was most famous for being the voice of Eggman in the Sonic Adventure series, whilst Elliot was voiced by Ryan Drummond, who also voiced Sonic in the Adventure series. Oh, that's right. Sonic and Robotnik teamed up, drank sodas, and fought dinosaur mutants that one time. You'll be spending most of your time wandering around the island looking for shit to blow up, card keys to open doors, or blocks to push around. The majority of the game is standard fare survival horror stuff. However, there are some segments which will turn a majority of players off, notably the terrible narrow walkway areas, which, as you can imagine, the camera does you no favors here, or the even worse swimming segments. Now, a couple of times in the game, the guys will be forced to swim through some dangerous waters, usually with some sort of big fish monster coming at them. You have no line of defense underwater, so escaping is your only option. The controls here are nothing like you'd expect, and to make matters worse, you'll run out of oxygen if you don't figure them out and surface for air. If you tap A, you surface for air. To sink to a lower level, you need to stand still and wait for your character to sink down. A and the joystick in a direction may move you forward or cause your character to surface. It's kind of random. I died a few times before I knew what was going on. So make sure you save your game before you go out for a dip.
You're hitting that hassy pretty hard, kid. You gotta be careful with it. Miles, what's happening? Miles, what is it?
Loneliness pass.
What the hell are you talking about? Ugh! What the hell's loneliness pox?
Well, now that you mention it, sometimes if they get into a rash, or people leave my house before the allotted promised time that they promised.
Is there any cure?
There's only one cure that I know of, and that's to stay the remaining 24 minutes and 35 seconds that you promised, and then the loneliness will have to go away.
Yeah. Alright. God.
Oh, sorry about that.
Got loneliness pox on my shirt.
One of the best and worst segments of the game is when Elliot accidentally swallows some jelly from a blob monster that ambushes him.
Oh. What's wrong? I feel sick. I think I swallowed some of the monster vomit. Oh, that's not good.
This sets a timer where the guys have to find a way to cure Elliot before he completely turns into a monster. This stretch of the game is one of the weirdest moments that Blue Stinger presents, and by this point in the game, you've already seen Dogs and Elliot take a bath together. The fundamental difference between Elliot's monster form and his human form is that he can now climb up pipes around the laboratory, which sounds like a cool idea until you remember that you're dealing with a broken camera that now has to go upside down. Your first time through, you're going to be running around frantically trying to find the correct pathway to traverse to find a cure for Elliot's purple spotitis. The camera can't keep up. It hides the pipes that you're supposed to find to climb to find the vents, to find the room you're supposed to go into to get a key card to find the cure. It sucks. Don't deal with this section, just find a guide.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. Sorry for what? Our daddy taught us not to be ashamed of our dicks.
Well, do you have anything for me to wear while I wash this?
Yeah, I got exactly one thing that might fit a man your stature. It's in the hallway closet next to the bathroom with the peephole in it. Go ahead, it's all yours.
By the way, you can dip Elliot into some blue juice on the floor here to extend his timer a little. It's not obvious at all. Even though this segment was broken and didn't make no sense, I still appreciated what they were trying to do here, even though the execution was terrible. Blue Stinger is deliciously old-school cryptic. Most of the time, you'll be angry at the game for being too confusing or not giving you enough time to process what the fuck is going on. If you sift long enough through the shit pile, you'll find several odd nuggets of gold in there, in the shit pile. I can't get over how much personality this pre-launch Dreamcast game exudes at all times. Giant hermit crab boss that uses a jeep as its shell. Need I say more? Every part where I wanted to drop this game for being too frustrating or just getting lost, I instantly regretted the thought when the cool shit happens again. Dogs Bauer is now Santa Dogs Bauer. Can't drop now, too invested in the plot.
In a Santa suit on Halloween? This is perfect. Why does it beard smell like puke?
Man, I'm getting deja vu.
Yeah, just like when dogs put on the Santa suit to get through the sanitation room. Only it's the exact opposite, because it's really lame, and I lost the will to live.
Santa. Sanitation. Nice one.
So the ending bit of the game is by far the most challenging and frustrating, which, if you've made it this far, you're already a bona fide masochist, so you're probably used to it. You have to trek up a long tower with narrow pathways and collapsing platforms to meet up with Janine at the top of it. You have a plan to blow up this giant dinosaur egg before it hatches. At the summit, two invincible jelly monsters try to ambush Janine, and you have to protect her from them until she can set up the perfect shot. You can't kill these enemies, but you can stun them for a couple of seconds by shooting at them. But they get right back up. There is absolutely no warning that you're in for a long ammo-wasting fight, so if you didn't prepare beforehand, you're screwed. Want my advice? Switch to dogs, never change back, throw on a Gatling gun, and try and position dogs in between the two monsters, and just slightly pulse the rounds. This segment goes on for way too long, even if you know what to do. Oh, who'da thunk it, the plan didn't work out, a giant dinosaur hatches anyway. Then Nephilim does something useful for a change and morphs into a giant kaiju. Fuck it, throw dogs in there, he'll fix it. I didn't think anything could get worse at this point, but the giant dinosaur fight is the granddaddy of bullshit. You end up running from one side of the small map to the other, dodging his flame breath, and trying to shoot him with rockets in the small window of time you have. The camera was the true boss all along, as you can't perfectly match the hitboxes of the characters to where the flames begin and end. What makes matters worse is when you're low on health, it's a death sentence, because both of your characters will slouch walk, which slows them down, leaving them wide open for hits. Run and chug, motherfucker! Whatever you do, don't die, because if you die, you gotta fight the Jellymen, watch the kaiju battle again, and fight the final boss all over. No checkpoints, it's the most intense feeling, like you're walking a fine line between brain aneurysm and a broken Dreamcast controller.
Ah, the sweet buzz of freedom.
Hey, you leaving?
Hey, I kept my promise. Happy trails, kid. Don't go! Hey, I got a real Dreamcast party to attend to. If I leave now, I have the chance of bumping uglies with some Oolala cosplayer with Crush 40 playing in the background. Bitches love Crush 40.
Wow, that sounds like a real good time. Wish I could go, but I guess my invitation got lost in the mail, right?
Right. Deuces.
The post-credits scene suggests other Blue Stingers exist in the universe, paving the way for future Dogs games. But you know the real ending. A sequel to Blue Stinger almost happened. Seriously. According to this old Gama Sutra interview with Nishigaki, Sega was so impressed that Blue Stinger sold over 500,000 copies worldwide that it was considered a hit. So they greenlit a sequel when Climax Graphics was in the middle of developing Illbleed. Now initially, Sega was going to publish Illbleed as a first-party title. Then they were going to fund Blue Stinger 2's development shortly after. Just a couple of months later, Sega entered a financial crisis and reneged on the deal to publish Illbleed, leaving Climax Graphics scrambling to find another publisher months before release. As you could guess, they also canceled the sequel to Blue Stinger on the spot. I wish things turned out differently for both Blue Stinger 2 and the Dreamcast at large. There was plenty of room for improvement in a sequel, and the potential of more Dogs Bowers tales to tell. Blue Stinger, rest in peace.
Hey, kid.
Jarrett? Is that you? Oh, here. You can take the beanbag toss with you to your cool Dreamcast party that I wasn't invited to.
Alright. Hey, there's a gay Mighty Number 9 party going on downtown. You wanna come with me?
Mighty Number 9 party, but I wasn't invited.
Hey, it's a Mighty Number 9 party. The invitations were promised years ago, but nobody has them. Now come on, KG. Let's go scam on some vet cosplayer buttholes. What do you say?
Better than nothing.